In BMX racing performance, there's so many different ways for you to get faster. Is it on the bike? Is it off the bike? Is it sprints? Is it gym work? Is it strength work? What is it? What is it not? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you 3 best secrets of mine that will enable you to get faster so you can start winning more races. Let's talk about it. All right, guys. Hey, welcome back to another Monday night edition of BMX Coach Live. I am your coach and your host, Greg Romero. I'm running the stream live. If you guys are watching on the replay, thank you guys so much for showing up. Make sure you guys do me a favor and like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification, also leave me a comment below. I really appreciate your support. It helps out the channel, enables me to show up every Monday here at 5:30 and be consistent here on YouTube. All right, so tonight we have a pretty cool show. A lot of guys showing up today. November 1st, or no, please forgive me, November 2nd, and the Grands are coming up. Man, how exciting for a lot of you guys that are traveling to the Grands. If you guys are traveling to the Grands, leave a thumbs up in the comment section below. All right, so today, you know, I love this show because I always extemporaneously, last minute, always come up with something, right? There's so many different things that we could talk about in BMX, and of course, you know, on this channel, we love talking about helping people thrive, such as yourself, but more importantly, helping newer and younger riders and guys that are returning to our sport to experience their potential and to sustain it. Of course, set goals, take action on the goals, and achieve the goals. That's what we do over here at BMX Training. So again, I appreciate your guys' support, and I also appreciate you guys supporting others in the community. It's so awesome of you guys. Wanted to talk about 3 of my best secrets to basically simplify and give you guys some clarity on how you think when it comes to, oh gosh, what should I do? I want to start winning. I want to start getting faster. I mean, a lot of you guys, I shouldn't say a lot of you guys, but a lot of my riders, especially in my Winner Circle program, they want to reverse engineer things. And so what we do is we establish a goal, and then we figure out, well, what is it that we have in terms of resources or reasons that will enable us to achieve the goal? And then we ask the next best question is, well, what are some of your biggest obstacles? What are your reasons as to why you think you won't achieve the goals? What are some resources that you need? And so that's a little bit high level. And what I want to do today is basically give you a basic way to simplify how to approach on getting faster, right? Like you want to have an approach on getting faster. And so I want to give you a really nice big breakdown here on simplifying your thinking on getting faster. I see a lot of guys in the chat over here. I have another monitor and want to say hello to a lot of our consistent guests that's coming in. Unnamed BMX racer, Shane Hughes, JP Belanger from Canada, Roscoe H, Drew Polk, how you guys doing? Ryan Broget, I know he's getting ready for the Grands. He's on my Grands training program. Welcome back, Ryan. I hope training's going well for you. CDDBZ Question Time. I love that name. Hi, Coach G. I'm back from an older stream. Mike Biscoop. Please forgive me if I botch your names. I'm reading this as fast as I can, and the names are really small. So my eyesight isn't exactly 20/20 anymore. I am getting a little bit older. So please forgive me. Mike Biskupski, Shane Hughes, Brad Henman, Gunnar Clay, Dylan McGann, Emily, Alan Kushinsky, Andres Lopez. Man, thank you guys so much for showing up. I am so honored. I'm so grateful. I get really excited. I look forward to this every Monday. Monday's a really tough day for a lot of us, isn't it? I mean, I had a really good weekend. Got a lot of good training in. Got to spend some time yesterday putting my feet up watching some NFL football. I'm a big fan. I used to play high school football. Did any of you guys play any other sports besides BMX racing? Let me know. I'd love to know. Man, thank you guys again so much for showing up. And you know what? I tell you what, let's get started, shall we? Now, one of the things that always comes up is I get a lot of comments. I get a lot of emails. And a lot of you guys are interacting with me, and if you guys if you guys send me a message, you guys know at some point I'm going to message you back. I do my best to ensure that I get back to you as soon as possible. But one of the things I always get is like, hey man, I have a race coming up. What should I focus on? Should I do this? Should I do that? And it's crazy because it's like, man, I so much as a practitioner of coaching BMX performance, I just want to take you guys and just be like, look, this is what you need to do. Do this, do this. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. And then on day 29, you're going to do this. And then you're going to taper and you're going to be racing awesome. You're going to be confident. You're going to be strong. You're going to be empowered. You guys are going to be killing it. You're going to be achieving your goals. And I can't do that in one email reply. It's just impossible. There's so many moving parts when it comes to BMX racing performance, right? And so I want to give you guys just a basic, simple, a fundamental breakdown on how I look at training and give you some ideas on how you guys can look at your training in terms of, at the end of the day, your goal is to get faster. And so there's many ways to do that. All right. So let's go ahead and begin. What do you say? I would say number one, for the majority of us, one of the most important things that we need to work on in an effort to get faster and start winning more races, work on track skills. Okay, so man, I tell you what, from a beginner to intermediate, moving into expert and struggling as an expert, and then becoming a really good expert, and then deciding to want to move on to be a pro and struggle a little bit in pro. I've had some undulations in pro, but I was very, very successful because I was able to win I was about to swear, but a ton of races, right? I almost swear that was pretty good, and I caught myself. But I was fortunate enough to have a good team around me, right? And so that's why I'm here, is because I had such a great team, and I want to pay that forward. But one of the most important things that I worked on, especially when I was a pro, was always working on my track skills, believe it or not. Pros today are always working on their track skills, and here's the reason why. The faster you get, those jumps are going to come up faster. You're going to have to figure out ways to deal with the speed of going over the jumps faster. So you have to continuously reconfigure your skills, work on your skills, and pay attention to all your skills. Now, when I say skills, I mean everything. I mean from the gate to gate skills, sprinting skills, and for the majority of us, pumping skills, manualing skills, jumping skills. If you guys are older amateurs and want to take the pro section, then you guys are working on pro section skills, right? That's a whole different mentality. And of course, turning skills. And then of course, on top of all that, you need a race IQ. You need to know strategy. You got to know your opponent, right? So there's so many different things when it comes to working on your track skills. And without overwhelming you, I would say that the best thing that you guys could do is basically take those 7 items, okay? I don't know if I'm going to be able to repeat these right now on the live stream, but just rewind it, go back 20 seconds, and I want you guys to do an honest assessment and basically rate those on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being absolutely awesome, 10 being you're totally competent, right? And you actually are executing unconscious competence, right? Number 1, you're absolutely, you're not on the map. You have a ton of work to do, right? You're I don't want to say anything negative, but at the end of the day, if you're ranking on a number 1 at gate starts, then you're inefficient. Your performance is poor, and so you need to give you guys a really good self-assessment. And then maybe if you have a parent, I don't know, if you have a parent, if you have a teammate, if you have a team manager, I don't know what your situation is. If you have a coach at the track, maybe they can give you an assessment if they've been paying attention to you, right? So I would give yourself a ranking and then figure out, okay, out of all of these, what is it that I can improve on? What can I start focusing on? Because I tell you what, at the end of the day, here's the deal. When you're on the gate, And let's just say let's just presuppose you have a good gait, you have some speed, but then in the back of your mind, you know that you're lacking on jumping, and you know you have to jump in an effort to compete. What's going to happen is typically you're going to be thinking about jumping, and however that makes you feel or however that makes you think, if it shifts you out of a resourceful state. And typically you get good gaits, you're fast and you're competitive, but you have this thing in the back of your mind saying, hey man, hey Greg, man, you're a little sketchy over these jumps. Your jumping skills aren't up to par. What are you going to do when you get out front? That's going to mess me up, and it's going to mess up my gait. It's going to mess up my performance down the first straight. I'm not going to be competitive there. So what I'm saying is, if you could work on your jumping, and that's an area that you can improve on, then it's going to improve your gait start. It's going to improve your first straight performance. That's just the way it works. If you work on some of these weaknesses, it's going to make your strengths even stronger. Okay. So things like gaits, right? I think gaits, number one, are always important when it comes to a track skill that we can improve on. Are we efficient? Are we effective? Are we able to focus? Is our first movement correct? Is our reaction power on point? Is our acceleration position really good to get into the second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way down the first straight acceleration power position? All right. There's so many different things when it comes to a gait. All right. Number two, our basic track skills, pumping, manualing, jumping. All right. Are we able to pump efficiently? Are we able to manual efficiently and manual with confidence? If that's an area that you're not confident and there's some doubt, some uncertainty, some fear about manualing, then that's an area that we need to work on and address. Because I tell you what, you work on that area, man, you open up that can of worms where you become a really good manualer, and then all of a sudden you find yourself like doing little things like jet hopping and bunny hopping, and like jet hopping is basically, it's something we haven't spoke about here, but basically you're doing a manual, but in the middle of the manual, you leave the back wheel off the ground. You're already jumping into the backside. Pros do it all the time. Some of our best amateurs here on the channel do it all the time. And that's such an awesome skill to have, because you're going to get a lot more speed than your basic manual. And a lot more speed means that you're just going to be faster. You're going to be hard to deal with. And wouldn't that be nice? And so, are you working on that? Are you working on your jumping? Are you working on your confidence and your competence to jump low and jump fast and jump with basically aggressiveness of getting backside and generating a lot of speed on the backside? Okay. Those are certainly some areas that you guys can work on when it comes to your pumping, manually, and jumping. Last but not least, I would say my third one is rhythm sections, man. There's always a rhythm section on every track. And are you working on your rhythm skills? Are you able to get through efficiently with confidence and competence? But more importantly, are you gaining speed as opposed to losing speed? All right. So look for ways that you guys can improve your speed through a rhythm section, improve your rhythm fitness, right? So fitness is going to be, again, confidence, competence, and then of course, carrying your speed all the way through the rhythm section. All right. There's so many different ways. And then, so that being said, out of these major components of gait starts, okay, pumping, manualing, jumping, we'll leave that in one area. And then of course, rhythm section work, which is kind of like pumping, manualing, jumping. But I would say those are kind of exclusive, because you got to be able to manual at least one jump really well, right? You got to be able to do a combination of pumping, manually, and jumping. And once you get that down, then you can start getting into the rhythm section and start attacking, right? And start working on your mental fitness to think fast on your feet and get through with complete confidence and complete competence. All right, cool. Those are my track skills tips, and let's move on to the next one. Let me see what's going on. If anyone agrees with me on that, give me a thumbs up in the chat. I see a lot of thumbs up in the chats. Cool. Wow, Ryan Ryan Broger, he did a $20 super chat. Thank you so much for the donation. Ryan says, thanks for the grants plan and all the help. It has been great so far, and I'm stoked to go to Tulsa. I'm stoked for you, man. I can't wait. I I'm not going to Tulsa this year. I'm gonna play it safe and stay home here in sunny Southern California. Um, However, I am looking forward to the next schedule. I'm sorry, next race season schedule, and I'm looking forward to maybe Arizona. I need to look at the schedule, look at the dates, and I need to get out there. I need to set up a booth and just hang out, and hopefully, by then my new book will be done. Maybe I'll bring some books, and I could give you guys some fist bumps and some elbow bumps, and I don't know, maybe wear a mask. I don't know, whatever. But looking forward to going to some races next year. Let's move on to number 2 of 3 ways to get faster, shall we? All right, here we go. Ta-da! Speed work. Please forgive me, I'm thirsty. Now, when it comes to speed work, I would say there's 3 different areas that you guys could focus on and simplify in an effort for you to, well, be faster, right? In an effort to get you faster and fitter. Number 1 is going to be acceleration, okay? You have gate starts, and then you have acceleration. They kind of complement each other, but the gate start really the gate start really sets you up for your acceleration. If you don't have a really good gate, then acceleration can sometimes get you out of trouble. Okay, but at the higher levels of competition, like in the pro ranks, you get a bad gate and it ain't no type of acceleration unless you're like a super freak of like, some of these guys back in the day, like a guy like Warwick Stevenson or Steve Veltman. I mean, those guys, they didn't have a really good gate. Well, please forgive me. Steve had a good gate, but Warwick didn't have a good gate at all. And he would just power through people. But at the end of the day, let's get back to business here. Acceleration is key, right? In the lower ranks, in the younger ranks, if you don't have a good gate but you have good acceleration, that can get you out of a lot of trouble. So acceleration is always something that we can always improve on. And again, I think this is an area that you guys need to focus on, right? And give yourself a fair assessment. Now, when it comes to speed work, we're going to talk about the three main ones here. We're going to talk about acceleration, top end leg speed, and power endurance. Those are the main 3. So how do you rank in acceleration? Top end leg speed. Okay, so acceleration is going to be out of the gate. Top end leg speed is going to be pretty much when you're topped out after the first jump or going into the first turn or out of the first turn. What's your top end leg speed at? Is it good? Could you improve it? Power endurance is the 3rd one. Power endurance is key. Power endurance is all about having that fitness, having a motor out of the first turn, but more importantly, out of the second turn, getting through that rhythm section and making sure you have gas in the tank when you're coming out of that last turn. Are you coming out of that last turn flat and feeling tired and your legs can't move and you're chopping wood? Or are you able to get on the gas and feel super fit and just hammering on the pedals, coming out of that last turn and accelerating all the way to the finish line? Trust me, man, I've been there. Every racer goes through this. It's like, oh my gosh, my legs are so heavy. And then you get fit and it's like, wow, this is awesome. I mean, isn't it awesome? Isn't it awesome when you're fit? It's great because you have great confidence. And when you have great confidence about being fit, then it really frees up your mind. And the weight on your shoulders just goes away at the gate. It's like, hey, I know I'm fit. I know I have the fitness to get to the finish line, no problem. And so you're not worried about that on the gate. So give yourself an assessment on acceleration, on a scale of 1 to 10, acceleration, top end leg speed, and power endurance. What do we need to work on in those areas? What's the most important to you? Because what's important to you isn't important to me. What's important to me isn't important to you. Now, I would say at the higher levels, everyone's always worried about, well, I shouldn't say worried. I don't know if that's a great word, but everyone's always concerned and checking in on their acceleration. And there's nothing wrong with that. We are a sprinting power sport. We are sprinters. We're no different. Like if we're in track and field, we would be known as the sprinters. We wouldn't be endurance runners. We wouldn't be competing in the decathlon. We wouldn't be competing in the javelin. If we were in track and field, we're either competing in 100-meter sprint, 100-meter hurdles, or I would say even more precisely, more identical, 400-meter hurdles. We're sprinting, we're jumping, we're sprinting, we're jumping, we're sprinting, we're jumping. However, they have lanes, we don't. So we have the ability to cut someone off and give them an elbow in the turn. Okay, so those are my 3 in speed work. And I would say, that being said, the third one's a little bit different. I think it's going to be, let me fix this title here. I think it's going to really depend on how you rank on the skill work and the speed work. Obviously, the skill work, a lot of that's going to be at the track. The speed work you could do at the track or away from the track at home in a bicycle-friendly, safe area. But the third one, the third secret of mine is going to be away from the track work. Now, we can go in many different directions when it comes to away from the track work. I would say number one, the biggest thing here is that, listen, if you guys are looking to get faster, if you guys have goals of winning more races, if you guys want to move from beginner to intermediate or intermediate to expert, if you guys are struggling as a newly turned expert or a seasoned expert and you're still struggling, listen, are you guys doing the away from the track work? Man, this is where you guys can make the most gains. Most of my athletes, they can get to the track maybe 2 to 3 times a week. There's 5 to 6 other days to train, and you could do that at home. What are you guys doing at home? Going to the track isn't enough, especially if you guys have goals, because guess what? There's always someone else that's hungrier than you that you can't see. They can't see you, but they're putting in the work. And when they're putting in the work and you're not putting in the work, they're coming in hungrier, more confident, faster, stronger, and prepared. What are you guys doing away from the track? Are you guys putting in the work? Most of my gains as a professional racer, most of my winner circle riders' gains are all done away from the track. We're putting in, I don't know, I haven't even done the percentages, but 3-to-1 ratio, right? 3-to-1 ratio, we're working more away from the track than at the track. Don't get me wrong, when we're at the track, we're working, we're putting in the work. We're showing up disciplined. We have a program. We're going to follow it. But what are you guys doing away from the track? Are you guys able to do things? This is a great opportunity for you guys to work on some of the skill work, right? Manualing, pumping, jumping. Are you guys working on your manualing at home? Are you guys working on jumping at home? Bunny hopping, jumping off curbs, make some jumps. There's all kinds of ways for you guys to continuously work on your skills. You guys could work on figure 8 turns away from the track. Okay, that's just skills. Again, we talked about track skills and then speed work. Are you guys able to find some time at home and dedicate and recommit the way I'm recommitting to you guys on a Monday, every Monday, 5:30? Are you guys able to recommit to your speed work, your away from the track work, doing sprint work? You guys could do sprint work at home 2 to 3 times a week. Shoot, if you're young, every day. It doesn't really matter. Sprint work. Interval work. Interval work is going to help you out with your speed endurance. Sprint work, acceleration work is going to help with your acceleration out of the gate. Okay, if you have rollers, if you guys have maybe like a slight downhill area where you guys could top out your leg speed, then you can work on your top end leg speed doing sprints. There's all kinds of ways for you guys to work on your speed work at home. Are you guys doing that? Another way that we can easily get faster away from the track is doing strength work, power work. Some of you older guys, are you guys going to the gym? Are you guys imposing that demand of developing strength and, more importantly, specifically power? Okay, it's a great opportunity for you guys to enhance your power. And when you're power, you're more efficient. And when you're more efficient, it's just more fun around the track. Straight up. I've been doing a lot of road biking myself, and it's crazy how much weightlifting will help in endurance sports. But weightlifting and powerlifting obviously is great for, guess what? Sprinters. You guys are sprinters. It's going to improve your reaction out of the gate. It's going to make you more efficient out of the gate. It's going to improve your acceleration. Hello, it's going to help you out with your manualing. If you guys can strengthen the lower body, strengthen the core, strengthen the upper body, you guys are going to be able to handle the bike more easier. And when it's easier, you're gaining more confidence. When you have more confidence, you're just that much faster. All right. What else am I missing away from the track? Let's go in the comments. Team Gamble, greetings from Christchurch, New Zealand. Cheers again for the great content. Hey man, thank you. Let's see here. Anything here? All right, there's a bunch of old comments here, but cool. We have a bunch of questions that we'll get to. I'll do my best to get to a lot of these questions in the Ask Coach G section, but those are some things that you guys could think about. If you guys are finding this helpful, leave me a comment below. Leave me a comment in the live stream. And let me know if this kind of thinking is helpful, of grading and doing a self-assessment of your skill work, okay? And figure out what's weak and what do I need to do to improve it. It'll give you an immediate target to start working on things now rather than later. It'll get you more organized in figuring out what you guys need to do now, rather than keep showing up and doing the same thing and wondering why your results aren't getting any better, right? What's the quote? Please forgive me. Doing the same thing every day, expecting a different result is insanity. So you guys got to get clear and be sane and be true to yourself. Get a pen and paper. Write it down. Skill work, gates, jumping, manualing, pumping, turning, right? Strategy, race IQ. Grade it on a scale of 1 to 10. Figure out where you guys are at. Here's the deal. You guys don't have to be 10s in all of them. Here's the secret. You don't have to be 10s in all of them. I would say an 8 and above is an area of unconscious competence. That means you've mastered it and you could do it without thinking. That's at the high pro level. That's Olympic level. And of course, that's at a lot of levels of all different ages, okay? You don't necessarily need to be a pro or an Olympian or Olympic gold medalist to master something. You guys can easily master things if you guys put in the work. You guys are already able to master walking, right? You guys can walk without thinking. You guys can pedal without thinking. Are you able to do your gate starts? Are you able to compete and do a gate start, manualing, pumping, jumping, turning, passing, without thinking? Just complete competence. If you haven't, then we have work to do. Let's be honest with ourselves and put in the work. All right. Speed work, away from the track work. Are you guys doing it? All right. I'm starting to repeat myself, but man, I feel like I'm just like my father talking to myself, my young self. It was good. I'm glad that my dad stayed on top of me. He gave me a hard time. I wouldn't say he gave me a hard time. I mean, what I meant to say was he was a great dad. I mean, he's still alive, but we're done. We're done with that path, right? Like my dad's. He lives on the East Coast. He's riding motorcycles. He's retired. He's living his best life. He travels. He's awesome. But our relationship between 8 and 13, it was tough because he was a BMX dad. He wanted me to do well. He spent a bunch of money. We were traveling everywhere. And half the time it was like, "Hey, are you doing your work? Are you doing your work? Are you training? What are you doing?" And as a kid, I spent a lot of time BSing around. We didn't have video games to distract us back then. We didn't have a cell phone back then. But I had skateboards. I had baseball cards to collect. I had skateboards to ride. I had friends I wanted to hang out with, and I wanted to be social with other people. But my dad was I'm really grateful for the opportunity that he gave me, and more importantly, I'm thinking back in hindsight, I'm really grateful that he was hard on me and gave me a tough time in terms of putting in the work. That's all. That's what I was trying to say. And when I turned professional, he gave me my space. I was a pro. I already knew what to do. I already had a coach. I had mentors. I had a team. And it was fun to pay it forward and pay for his flight to come out to watch me race. And I would perform well when he was around. We had a great relationship with that, like that. But it was tough. As a kid, I remember it was really, really tough. It was tough. I would say doing the hard work, it was tough because I didn't really have the purpose. You know what I mean? And so I would say one of the bonus things that I want to throw in there in terms of away from the track work is making sure that you guys have a goal and that it's meaningful, that it's contextualized, meaning is it good for yourself, but also good for others. I think a goal that transcends yourself it gives you ambition. It's just like someone becoming a homeowner and it's all of a sudden it's like, hey, things got real and they got to start making money. Or someone becoming a father or a parent and it's like, hey, things got real. I got to go to work. I got to put in the work. I got to put food on the table. I got to raise my kid. For us younger riders, I don't know why I'm saying us younger riders, but I'm thinking my younger self, 8 to 13 years old when it was tough. I think we have to figure out ways for younger riders to configure their goals and figure out ways for them to transcend that goal. Hey, what would this goal do for you? But more importantly, what would it do for others? Okay, because if it's only for you, it's really, really tough. It's really tough. If it's to help out a team in their team sheet, then that's helpful. That'll give them some ambition. That'll give them more than motivation, right? I think that's helpful. All right, well, I think that's enough on that, guys. Again, if you guys are finding this helpful, let me know in the comments below. I see a bunch of questions coming in. Someone says, we don't care about your dad. Okay. Well, thanks for showing up. We got to figure out a way to ban this guy. We'll report him. He's saying hurtful things. Not hurtful to me, but certainly not good for our community. Explicit report, and then he's gone. Okay, and then we're gonna ban him. Hide user. Cool, we hit him. So any message that this guy puts in, it's gone. All right, guys. Well, hey, yeah, thank you so much, Miles BMX. Very helpful. He says Max says I need gate help. I'll tell you what, we'll be back in a moment, and we'll ask your best questions as it relates to BMX racing performance. And I'll see you back here right after the break. Hey guys, I have a question. What would it do for you if you could enhance your power out of the gate, enhance your sprint speed down the first straight, enhance your skills, enhance your mental performance mind state? What would that do for your racing or your kids' racing? If you're seeing the value of enhancing your BMX performance, consider joining the community of BMX Training Pro and get the same access my Olympic athletes have enjoyed, as well as thousands of BMXers all over the world. Some members use the access to improve their gate start techniques. Some also use the access to keep them motivated to train, and you'll find your reason when you gain access and join BMX Training Pro today.
Stay focused, get ready now. For real, get ready now.
Nitro with the nice flow.
Stay focused, get ready now. For real, get ready now. Let's go. Stay focused, here the heat come. Concentrate to the sound of the beat drum. Yeah. Start it up, take it back now. Check it out. This is how it's going down. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back. Hey, listen, I'm interested in some of you guys that show up regularly. I really appreciate you guys. And if any of you guys that are a little bit older and want to be a moderator here on the live show, send me a message or email me info@bmxtraining.com, or just send me a message and just let me know. I could use some help. We just had a user on here using a bunch of explicit words, and you know, while I could BS with the best of my friends in a bar and say a bunch of cuss words, listen, this isn't the place to do that. And so yeah, that was really weird. We just got a guy that just kind of came in with a explicit handgun, if you will, and started firing shots left and right. If you guys are interested in helping me out with that, I really appreciate that. That would be super helpful. There's only so many things I can do. You know, I'm running a live feed. I got the monitor here. I got the camera there. I got all these lights to handle, and you know, I have to talk to you guys. But hey, welcome back. Ask Coach G section. Let's go to some of these questions. We have 20 minutes. There's a few questions I scanned through. Let's jump right into it, shall we? I see one coming from Shugi 19 Games. Hey Coach G, I just can't seem to improve on skill like jumping and manualing, and I need to increase my power out of the gate way better. Okay, well, I think that's just a comment, but listen, Shugi, I think the best thing that you could do is, are you putting in the work? You got to put in the work. You got to be consistent. You have to recommit to those things that you want to improve on. But more importantly, I think what you need to do is just take a sheet of paper, right? And if you want to improve on things like jumping and manualing, write down jumping, write down manualing, write down all your skill work, all your track skills. Then again, I would grade those on a scale of 1 to 10 and figure out what is it that you need to improve on the most, and just dedicate a day or a session to go deep into improving on that. All right. Let's see, another question coming in. Roscoe H says, should I go up a tooth or focus more on top end leg speed? He says here, watched video of Maine from Saturday. I'm a wheel length in front of the pack at the 30-foot mark, but an experienced rider pulled almost a full bike in front of me by the end of the first jump. Should I go up a tooth or focus more on top end leg speed? Okay, so Roscoe is saying that he watched his own video of him racing a main event on Saturday this past weekend. He was a wheel length in front of the pack at the 30-foot mark, and then someone just reeled him in. Roscoe, is it a younger rider, older rider? Is it you? Tell me how old you are, what class you're racing. Give me more context. That should be helpful. But your question of going up a tooth, you know, before you start making any gear changes or any equipment changes, are you doing any of the away from the track work? Are you doing things to work on your acceleration from the bottom of the hill to the first jump? Are you working on that mid-range acceleration? Are you doing sprints? Are you working on your acceleration? Are you working on strength work? Because here's the deal. If you're not, you're going to find that if you work on your acceleration both in sprint work and also strength work, it's actually going to make you faster and stronger even in those subsequent phases on the first straight. Okay? So that's going to be my question. I really can't give you an answer unless you give me more context on what you're doing. But I would definitely address it through training first. Now, the next best thing that you could do is find out what that rider is running in terms of a gear, and then what are you running? Are you running something that's easier? Are you running something that's the same? Do you want to go higher, right? Because I kind of had the same thing, right? Like back in the day, I raced a guy. He was dominating in pro. He ran a 44/16, and he ran it everywhere. That was his thing. I run it everywhere. I'm not going to change my gear. I don't have time for that. It's going to mess with my wheelbase. It's going to mess with my gate start. It's going to mess with my ability to accelerate the way I know how to accelerate, because I've been training that way, and I'm not going to show up to a track and start changing my gear because everything's going to be different. You know, he was like, if I go up in gear, I'm going to have to be stronger out of the gate. Things are going to move slower, and I'm going to feel sluggish. I'm going to run the same gear everywhere. And same thing, Roscoe. I would pop him out of the gate, and then he would just start pulling, and he ran an easier gear. I would say a 44/16. So what did I do? I just started training. Okay, and that got me a little bit closer to him. All right, training works. And then, of course, I went to the next level. I actually went a tooth higher than him, but I made sure I got stronger. If you're going to go up higher, you have to be stronger in an effort to do that, Roscoe, because it's going to require more energy. And what requires more energy in the beginning, you may not have so much in the middle. So, you know what I mean? Like, listen, it's BMX racing's like drag racing. You know, if you have two cars side by side, both weigh the same, okay, and one has 300 horse, the other one has 250. The guy that's 250 reacts faster, okay? If he reacts faster with a 250 horsepower, and this guy has 300 horse, you know, by the end of the quarter mile, he might be tied with him at the end, okay? But if this is BMX racing, he can start moving over. My point is, if you go up in gear, make the gear harder, are you going to be able to get out front the way you're doing now? Because if you're getting out front right now and there's only one guy and that's reeling you in, okay, no big deal. But if you go up in gear, you might feel better in that mid-range area of your acceleration to the first jump, but the problem is your reaction time might be slower. That's what I'm trying to say. So again, again, before you start changing equipment, are you training? Are you addressing those progressional areas, especially from the 30-foot mark to the first jump? That mid-range pull is what I would call it. Brandon Doherty, how do I teach my son to pump? He's a 10 novice. I know how to pump manual and jump, but have difficulties teaching him how to. Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's one thing if you know how to do it, but it's another way to simplify it and get someone else to do it. Is there a local pro at the track? Is there someone that can help him? Pumping is just a matter of just doing a bunch of simple squats up and down, right? And then you want to be able to time that with the transition of the jump. So the idea is to pretend like the legs and arms are like shocks in a car. And the idea is to keep his head level. When the jump comes up, he wants to bring his arms and his feet compressed up into the upper body. All right. And then on the backside of the jump, you want to push away. So it's a pulling up, pushing down, pulling up, pushing down. That's basically pumping. I hope that's helpful. Jacob James says, sometimes I get lost in a way from track work. I have to remind myself that the work is a tool in the box of becoming a better racer that usually kicks my butt back to the track. Cool. He says, right now, this is away from track work, like being in a lecture at BMX school. Oh, being here on the live show, sure, absolutely. Hey, Jacob, I think at the end of the day, I would say it's tough, right? Like away from the track, I was having a hard time talking about it because I was so caught up with my father. I just remembered him just telling me like you have to put in the work, put in the work, put in the work. But it wasn't fun because no one else was there. But at the track, there's something called sessioning, right? When you're having a sesh or a session, you're riding with other people, and there's a vibrational energy, there's flow, there's a session that you're vibing to, right? The energy and working off the energy of others and having fun. And there's something to be said about riding at the track with other people, but away from the track, it's hard to do because you lose that energy. So that's where you have to dig deep, establish your goals, figure out who you're becoming as a BMX racer, and just put in the hard work. Listen, it's only an hour worth of work. If you're going to go out there and do some sprints, it shouldn't take you more than 45 minutes. You can throw some core work or some plyometric work right in afterwards, okay? It's only an hour. This show's an hour. It's nothing. 60 minutes, just get it done. Recommit to your goals every day. That's the whole idea here. It's not just, oh, one day I put in, last week, I trained on a Thursday. No, man, you got to recommit every day that you're at home away from the track. That's the whole idea here. Recommit, recommit, recommit. Aaron Greenreich, hope all is well in the great Northwest. Hey, Coach G, great to see you again. Doing off-track work seems like every day is core and legs day. The core work has made a huge difference in my ability to manual over and overall balance and control. Yeah, man, right on. I agree. Manualing, it's really tough if you don't have a strong core, and having a strong core will enable your gate starts to be more efficient, as well as your manualing for sure. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Let's see. Roscoe H. Roscoe says, I'm a 31 intermediate. I practice sprints and squat consistently, but I haven't done the top end leg speed exercises you mentioned in the past just yet. Used to ride a 45/16, but now I'm on a 44/16. Yeah, man. So Roscoe, I would say if you're having a hard time in that mid-range area from the bottom of the starting hill to the first jump, right? If you're having a hard time keeping up with this other rider who's pulling you, then I would say work on jump sprints or top end leg speed sprints. So an acceleration sprint wouldn't necessarily be more beneficial there. You need to work on to where you're already rolling at like 15 miles an hour, coasting, and then you hit it hard and just open up and take that sprint all the way until you run out of gear, meaning you're completely spun out. Another thing, Roscoe, here too, listen, here's another secret. You could do under gear work, meaning if you're running a 44, just for this sprint session, I would specifically put on a 43 and do that same protocol of a jump sprint. Roll in around 15 miles an hour with a 43 and just hit it hard and spin it out as fast as you can and repeat those. However, when you go back to the track, make sure you put your race gear of 44 back on. Cool. Hopefully, give that a try. I guarantee you, after a couple sessions, that's going to feel really nicely. We have to reprogram the neuromuscular programming of your legs able to turn that 44 over faster. So in an effort to do that, let's bring the gear back down a little bit, force ourselves to spin up a little bit, okay, in that area. And I guarantee you, when you put that 44 back on, it's going to feel awesome. Just don't do anything else with that 43, okay? Meaning don't do acceleration work, like stand start, overcoming inertia work. Just work on what I just told you, and I guarantee you that's going to work. Merino Valley News gives a big thumbs up. Good to see you. The Dominator says, love your videos. Let's see here. Max Eisler. Okay, thank you. That helps a lot. Miles BMX, what can you do to help with turns? Yeah, that's an easy one. what kind of turns are you, what is it with turns that you want help with? Is it technique? Is it passing? Now, when it comes to turning, I practice my turns at home because it's just a lot easier. I can get a lot more done on turning technique at home rather than at the track. If we practice figure eight turns over here at BMX training, and when we do when we do figure eight turns, we're able to get more time turning as opposed to going to the track. And you only get, if a typical track has 3 turns and you do a lap, it's going to take you 40 seconds. You're only going to get 3 opportunities to work on your turns. But if you're able to do figure eight turns in 45 seconds, you'll probably get anywhere from 10 to 12 turns, right? So flat ground turns, I love working on the technique in an effort to configure the technique, but more importantly, configure my ability to hold traction and then work on my lines. Okay. That is a great opportunity for you to work on your technique. Again, if you could work on your technique at home and improve your traction on flat ground, certainly when you get to the track and the turns banked, it's going to be a lot easier. Hopefully that's helpful. Let's see if there's any other questions coming in. Oh, we got some comments coming earlier from people that I asked if you guys did any other sports. Someone said basketball, karate, volleyball, golf, soccer, dance, and gymnastics. That's unnamed BMX racer. She's in Utah. JP says hockey, golf, and road bike. Golf is something that I cannot wrap my head around. That I cannot golf to save my life. I used to go out. A lot of my riders, over at, back in the day when we were at the Olympic Training Center, they would give us really inexpensive green fees over at the golf course. And I wouldn't play golf because it was just too much. I would drive the golf cart, but we would go to the range and I just kept pulling the golf ball to third base and hitting grounders. I wasn't good at all. It wasn't something that, I just didn't have the skill or the patience to do it, but I need to learn it. Let's see here. Any other questions? Oh, Brad Henman. Here we go. What's the best way to get smoother on the track? I'm first to the corner, but lose it on the rhythm sections. Yes. So Brad, earlier in the video, we talked about track skills and identifying each track skill from the gate all the way to the finish line, including, more importantly, pumping, manualing, and jumping. In an effort to get more smooth through the rhythm section, I would say you need to figure out how do you rate yourself in terms of manualing, pumping, or jumping. And then what I would do is, whatever's the weakest component out of all those, I would spend a dedicated track session. Let's say you're weak at manualing. I'd spend a whole session just working on manualing. Just go deep, find one jump, and just repeatedly practice manualing on that one jump. Go deep into it. And I think that's the problem with, I would say that's an issue when you go to a track and you go to practice. It's like, oh, what should I do? And you just kind of get wrapped up into gate practice. Well, I'm just doing gates today. And you do a gate, you go all the way, you go hard to the first turn, and then after that, everyone kind of chills out, and then you just kind of coast back up to the back of the starting hill, and then you repeat. And forget all that. Maybe you just roll off the gate and you work on manualing every jump conceivably possible on the track, whether you could do it or not. And just dedicate yourself one day, and then after that, see how you feel. I would take older riders. Like, I would have older riders ask me all the time, and the older riders seem to have a hard time manualing. And so that's what I would tell them. I would tell them, listen, find a double that you can manual and just go deep into it and just practice manualing that until it becomes automatic. Because at the end of the day, that's what skills are all about. It's all about making it to where it's automatic, and that way you don't have to think about it. If you don't have to think about doing the skill, then you guys can focus on more the strategy of racing. Again, I always say it all the time, man. BMX racing is one of the hardest I say it all the time. BMX racing is one of the hardest sports in the world. You know, I've played a lot of sports. I've played football. I've played ice hockey. I've ridden a motocross bike. I didn't race motocross, but ice hockey is right up there because in an effort to play ice hockey, you have to be able to skate. But it's one thing to skate, and then it's another thing to handle the puck. It's really hard to stick handle in ice hockey. And then you have to learn the strategy of the game and then combine all three. BMX racing is no different. We have to understand how to ride our bike. We have to understand how to navigate obstacles on the track. And then we have to understand how to navigate obstacles on the track with 7 other dudes or dudettes. It's really hard. I get it. That's why I'm here. It's such a hard sport. That being said, don't be afraid of dedicating and going deep into any of these skills. Check the boxes. When I was ice skating, I needed to learn how to forward stride. I needed to learn how to stop. I need to learn how to turn properly. I need to learn how to do forward crossovers. I need to learn how to skate backwards. I need to learn how to do backward crossovers. And then after all of that, I had to learn how to stick handle. And so the only way I could truly master and check off each skill was to dedicate a day in public skating and going deep into that skill for 45 minutes, whatever that session was. Don't be afraid to go deep. If you guys go to the track and play it a la carte and like, oh, I just want to get fast, I'm just going to do a mixed bag of everything, then you guys are going to get mixed results. What other questions do we have? Cool. Anthony Grasher has a comment. Thank you so much, Anthony, for helping out our community. Says downhill over speed training helped me get faster. It allowed me to crank faster than I could, which made me feel more confident pedaling all out. Yeah, absolutely. There's something to be said about over speed training, whether it's downhill or like I was telling our guy Roscoe here to put an easier gear on so we can work on that mid-range pull. If you could train your body to pedal faster than normal on the track, when you get to the track, everything's going to feel slower in a good way. Thanks, Anthony, for reminding us, man. Thank you so much. Josh Rich, AA hockey. Aaron says, thanks again. I'm off to the gym. Have a good session. I'm doing gym work tomorrow. Here we go. Now we're starting to move into an area that I love talking about. The Dominator says, how can you overcome being nervous before a big race like Grands? Ooh, we're talking mental performance here, right? So here's the deal. Where do you guys want to go with this one? We can go deep or we can keep it surface level. We have to understand what the mind is. First off, there's 2 parts to the mind when it comes to performance. Number 1, there's mindset, which is going to consist of your values and beliefs. You know, how do you feel about your preparation? How do you feel about your belief of the goal that you want to accomplish? And then you have performance mind state. So you have a mindset, values and beliefs, and a mind state, thoughts and feelings. Everything is state dependent. Right now, I'm in a state where, hey, you know what? I'm grateful for the opportunity to be your coach, and I want to be able to help and serve you guys and help you guys thrive and, you know, experience your potential and sustain it. That's where I'm at. I'm not in a state where I just want to sit back, relax, and watch television. There's Tom Brady's, you know, is playing football right now. I want to catch up with that after this. Everything's state dependent. And so the thing is that when it comes to nervousness, first and foremost, nervousness is the same physiology as excitement, okay? Nervousness is the same physiology as excitement, okay? It's good to know that. Nervousness can work for you. Now, when you start going into uncharted water, such as fear or uncertainty or even doubt, that's a whole nother level. That's a little bit above nervousness, right? So there's nothing wrong with being nervous. Hey, Coach G said that's just excitement. Cool. That being said, reframe that and make that your performance mind state. Now, here's a key. Let me give you a little trick. Let's bring it back. Now, when it comes to your performance mind state, the key here is to trigger yourself into your own ideal performance mind state. And this is something that I do with a lot of my winter circle athletes, my Olympic athletes, myself. I do this for the show. I have to get into a state. And so you want to be able to identify 2 or 3 things that you want to ideally be in when it comes to performing at a big race. Okay, so can you perhaps go back in time, go back to a specific time where you're able to perform at a race? And what did you see? What did you hear? And more importantly, what did you feel? Okay, when I ask those questions, usually it's like, oh man, I felt confident. I was powerful. I looked smooth. I was excited. Some people are like, I'm calm. Or some people are like, I'm relaxed. Okay. Everyone's a little bit different. I know for me, when I raced the Grands, man, I had an awesome Grands performance a long time ago. I won every pro class. And you know what my 3 words were to me to put me into the ideal mind state before I got in the gate? Relax. Okay, that's it. Relax, whole shot, first place. I literally said those 3 things, and that put me in an empowering, winning state. I knew if I could relax, then I knew I could get the whole shot. I knew if I can get the whole shot, I could win. No one was going to pass me around the track. I was just that confident. My skills were really good. But the point is, if I could relax, that was everything. If I got too excited, I would hit the gate. If I got nervous or I was fearful, I wouldn't get the ideal start. So for me, a key thing for me was just relax. That's it. And for you, you may find that being relaxed might help you. I don't know. You have to figure it out for yourself. Everyone's different. I could take 10 riders. I can take 10 of my best riders and tell you what each of their ideal performance mind state is. And each and every one of them has at least 3 to 5 different components of their ideal performance mind state. And they're all going to be different. They're all going to be different. There might be 2 riders that might have 2 of the same. Maybe they want to be confident and powerful, but some people just want to have fun. I want to have fun. When I'm in the ideal performance mind state of having fun, I'm at my best. So you need to recall a specific time when you were at your best and you performed at a big race. And that big race, it doesn't really matter what that name was, because the unconscious mind doesn't really understand the magnitude of the event. Okay, it doesn't understand the difference between a Gold Cup qualifier, a national, a world championship, or a Grands main event. Okay, it doesn't know that. So that being said, you guys could easily tap into what works for your programming, for your performance mind state. Find ways to trigger you to get into that, even if it's just simply saying it to yourself. Okay? Just saying it or coming up with a visual cue. I do a thing called anchoring. Okay? Google that. I do anchoring with my athletes. It's really, really fun. And we do a stacked anchor. So an anchor is basically something we trigger, right? So if we trigger the anchor, boom, they get into state just like that. Boom, they're in it, right? Yeah, so that's a really, really, really fun one. Thank you so much for that. That's one of my favorite subjects. You guys are saying deep. Yeah. Dominator, thank you. Thank you so much for that question. I love that kind of stuff. Jacob James says to Jake Jensen, a question on last straight power. Last straight power. Okay, and I think that's going to be the last question. Jacob James says, relax whole shot. Relax, explode whole shot. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one too. Could you guys please sub to my channel? It would mean a lot, Max says. Okay, Max, I'll sub to your channel, man. If you sub to mine, I'll sub to yours. Last straight power. I love that. Let's talk about last straight power. Well, here's the thing. When it comes to last straight power, do you have first straight power? The stronger you are on the first straight, the faster you're going to be on the subsequent straights. It's just the way it is. Okay, so if you guys are stronger in the beginning of the race, it's going to make you more efficient. When you're more efficient, you're going to carry more speed. And when you're carrying more speed, you're going to have more power down the last straight. Okay, that's one way of increasing your last straight power. The other way to do it is simply working on interval work. Okay, interval work is basically, I should say, interval efforts. Interval efforts could be either something you do at home or something that you do on the track. On the track could be longer efforts rather than just going from the gate to the first turn and shutting it down. Maybe you go to the gate all the way to the second turn, or maybe you go from the gate all the way to the third turn. Short rest of anywhere from 6 to 10 minutes long. Okay, get back up there and do it again. The older we are, it's harder because we're producing more metabolic waste than, say, younger kids that are 12 and under. If you ever notice 12 and unders, they can just go and burn laps all day long. They're not filling up their legs with a bunch of metabolic waste. Not like older guys. It's really strange. So for us older guys, we need a little bit more rest. But if we shorten the rest, it's harder. And so if we could train ourselves to work through the metabolic waste and train ourselves to recycle and remove metabolic waste in between the intervals, the faster and stronger we're going to be down the last straight. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for showing up. I am grateful for the opportunity to be your coach. Man, I can go all night long, but man, I got to cook dinner. I got other obligations. I had a really, really busy day. Again, you guys have an awesome week. Make sure you guys are true to yourself, and I would definitely work on identifying and grading your skills, okay? Grading your gates, grading your jumping, manualing, pumping, track work, race IQ, okay? Figure out what you guys need to work on, put them in order, and you might be surprised. And then what I want you to do is figure out what's the weakest thing and just spend one session dedicating each week for 3 to 4 weeks. Go deep into it. If it's gates, if it's just jumping, if it's manualing, recommit just the way I recommit to you guys every Monday at 5:30. Pick a time and day and recommit to manualing if it's something that you want to do. Commit to away from the track work, Jacob James, if it's something that you want to do, if you want to improve on that. If you guys want to put in the work, well, if you guys want to win more races, you guys have to put in the work. That's what I meant to say. Anyways, guys, I am grateful for the opportunity. Thank you so much. I'm grateful to be your coach, and I'll see you guys next Monday, 5:30. Thank you guys.